Mic check, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Hip Hop Snapshots. I'm your host, Ross Martinez, and today it's going to be a good episode. This one's for the dreamers, the quiet creators, and those that got a voice that feel they haven't been heard quite yet. We are honoring Outkast and the family they come from and the dungeon they grew from. Outkast is now enshrined in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and during their acceptance speech, Andre 3000 said 4 words that struck me. Great things start in little rooms. And where this story begins is in the dungeon on Headland in the Low. Without further ado, grab that milk crate, take a seat. It's time to talk hip-hop history. All right, we start the story in Atlanta in the early 1990s in the basement of a house on Headland and the Low. The air was thick, the incense smoke ran through and through, and ambition held the foundation. The floors creaked and the walls sweated, and under those boards, literal and metaphorical history was being built beat by beat. This is where a group called Organized Noize got together. Rico Wade, Sleepy Brown, Ray Murray crafted the foundation of what would become Southern hip-hop. They weren't chasing the New York sound or the West Coast vibe at all. They were building something soulful, yet something funky, something that could only come from the South. They mentored 2 teenage kids from East Point. Their names, Andre Benjamin and Antoine Patton. Together, they'd shape an identity for a region that the rest of hip-hop ignored. Outkast wasn't manufactured. They were molded by the dungeon, by Organized Noize, by the streets and the spirituality of Atlanta. Their debut album called Southern Playlistic Cadillac Music wasn't just a record, it was a manifesto, a funky jazz declaration that said, we're here, we belong, and we sound like home. The early days of hip-hop, when it comes to the South, was a little give and take, up until about 1995 at the Source Awards. It was a sea of New York and LA giants filling the room with ego, but then when Outkast won Best New Rap Group, they got booed, and booed hard. That crowd wasn't ready to acknowledge the South. They were too worried about the West Coast, East Coast battle. And then Andre grabbed the mic, and everything changed from that moment in history. He got on stage and said, the South got something to say, and boy, did they say a lot of things. That line wasn't just defiance, it was prophecy. It cracked the door wide open for people like T.I., Ludacris, Goody Mob, UGK, and every Southern artist that followed. And behind all of it, the group Organized Noize kept feeding the movement of Southern hip-hop, producing songs like Cell Therapy, Soul Food, and even TLC's Waterfalls. Every 808 swing hi-hat that came after had a little bit of the dungeon dust on it. Outkast never repeated themselves either. They always reinvented themselves. From the intergalactic soul of Atlians to the cosmic funk of Aquemini to the electric revolution of Stankonia, they redefined what hip-hop could be. They didn't ask for permission either. They created the blueprint in a dungeon. And when Speaker Box vs. The Love Below dropped, they broke every wall left standing in hip-hop at that moment. 2 solo albums, 1 group, and 1 Grammy for Album of the Year. They became proof that hip-hop could be poetic, could be jazz, funk, punk, and soul, all in one breath. The dungeon wasn't just a studio, it was a sanctuary. A revolving door of creatives who believed in each other before anyone else ever did. Goody Mob, CeeLo Green, Big Rube, Joy, Backbone, Killer Mike. That was the Dungeon family. More than collaborators, they were co-conspirators in creating a new Southern consciousness. Rico Wade's leadership made him the quiet general, the one who believed you could mix church organ chords with street tales. He taught a generation that vulnerability and strength could coexist in the same verse. Without him, there's no Mrs. Jackson, there's no Spodey Odie Dopalicious, no Killer Mike or Future, his literal cousin. That's the power of community. That's hip hop at its most pure. Collective creativity born in struggle, not structure. And I'm going to run that back one more time. That's the power of community. That's hip hop at its most pure. Collective creativity born in struggle, not structure. Outkast's reach didn't stop in Atlanta, though. You can hear fingerprints in Childish Gambino's experimentation, Tyler the Creator's freedom, Janelle Monáe's Afrofuturism, and Kendrick Lamar's conceptual courage. Even the production philosophies of Kanye West and Anderson .Paak echoed the dungeon fusion of melody, grit, and message. The South didn't just say something, they taught hip-hop something. Outkast's legacy isn't just about awards or accolades, it's about imagination. The courage to believe that something sacred can be born in something so small. It's about family, the kind that challenges you, builds you, and holds you accountable in the same line. It's about creativity, the belief that hip-hop is a living, breathing thing that grows when nurtured by authenticity and community. So yeah, great things start in little rooms, but those rooms don't stay little forever. They expand with every dreamer who dares to create within them. Mic check, mic check. That's another episode of Hip Hop Snapshots. As always, I'm your host, Ross Martinez. And like Dre said, great things start in little rooms. So if you got something to say, maybe it's time to start building yours. Digging crates, and as always, be hip hop. I'm out. Peace.